Dear friends, this is my fifth video in this series in which I'm going to talk about what a government should not do. Now this is really the simpler part of the whole story, because we've seen in the previous video what a government should do. So clearly the obverse of that is what a government should not do. Now we see that in India, the government actually does what it should not do. Most of its effort is spent on doing things directly, like managing schools, hospitals, public sector utilities, water, electricity, airlines, hotels, and so on. These are not the kinds of things a government should do. What a government has to do is focus on the first order functions and those to be directly managed. For the others, it should allow the market to work and regulate where required and provide necessary support, for example, vouchers for the very poor, so that they get a lot of money effectively, which they can then buy their education with, and similarly for basic health and so on. So what I've described in detail, and I'll come to each of these policies separately, is how the government can actually procure, create incentive mechanisms, economic design of the markets, or mechanisms of market-based mechanisms, to ensure that the markets provide all these services that are required by the community directly, without actually getting involved in the management of these activities. Because then you allow the markets the competition to flourish, you allow the best talent to go forward. People will not run away from India to other countries. They will have something useful to do with their time and money, and allow the flexibility in the market, the transitions, reduce the transaction costs, ensure certainty of property rights. These are the kind of things you do, but that actually is all about the facilitating environment. It is not the direct management of almost any of these second order functions. And of course, definitely not the third order functions like sports or arts or some such thing. These must be left to the private market to supply. And of course, there is the exercise of infrastructure, where a government can do something, but it should not directly try to actually manage infrastructure as well. To a large extent, this should be outsourced, procured, because then you allow the incentives to come in through the tendering systems for the best managers of those infrastructures. And then you can, as a government, focus on quality, whether the quality has been delivered. Rather than managing a road, you are then able to go and tell the contractor that this road has not been well managed, so I'm going to deduct some money from your payments. And that what it does is it creates the incentives for the high quality outcomes, because we as a society should be focused on outcomes and not on the inputs. Whereas in India, the government has been focused on inputs, and not only inputs, it actually has been focused on managing these inputs directly by itself, which is a real shame. What we really need here is a complete change of mindset, a complete change of the system. The first two videos, and they are part of the overarching video which talked about institutional reform, show how good people and talented and competent people can be attracted into the governance system. Because currently most of the good people have simply left India, and they will not come back under the current situation. Let me assure you, Modi is not going to get anybody back. The BJP is completely incapable of bringing any good people back to India. Let me give it in writing. It's not going to happen. India has not yet created the kind of systems by which the good top talent of the world, Indian talent, can actually want to come back to India. But leaving that aside, that's a political issue. Right now the main message here is what a government should not do, and I think I've outlined that a government should really focus on what it should do, and others things it should procure or regulate. And with that, I think we are able to get the whole structure of the system, the new system, in place. What I'm going to do now is, in the next few weeks, I will take up one issue at a time. For example, justice, police, and so on. And I'll talk one video at a time about each of these issues, so that by the end of this whole series, I've covered most of the policy issues in significant detail. Thank you very much.